Hi and welcome back to my channel. I am sitting here watching yet another series of videos on the Volume 34 leaks of Attack on Titan, and my disappointment could not be more intense. I mean, I was just starting to get over my disappointment from chapter 139, and now this. And first it was the text leaks, and then it's the panels. And can I just say, those panels, I mean, apparently I watched a video that explained that the leaker is the one that drew up those panels to kind of give us a visual representation of the text panels. But they just, it just makes me so sad that this the ending, the legacy of the ending was already disappointing and terrible to me. And then we have to wait until June for this. Like, if you're going to give us 8 pages, because I genuinely thought that those 8 pages were supposed to flesh out the story, give us a bit more understanding of what we got in chapter 139, which wasn't a lot, right? It was messy, it was sloppy, it was retcon after retcon. It was such a departure from the story that I thought I had been reading. I think the story that a lot of us thought we had been reading, the journey we'd been on, just hit a total U-turn and went into a total different direction. And so I was like, maybe I'll hold up a bit of copium for these last 8 pages. But these last 8 pages, I feel, is like just has taken a fresh dump on top of all of our heads and set it on fire, because this isn't fleshing out anything. This is changing the story yet again. This is adding stuff to the story yet again. And I think, why wasn't he able to just do it in one chapter? Like, I get it, the magazine might have a set, number of pages, but when you're talking about apparently the last chapter of a manga as a whole, give the author the 8 pages. Why give us this extra 8? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I genuinely had hold out copium that we would have gotten more understanding of Aaron's apparent love for Mikasa, right? That in a few panels or a page or two, he could have shown us, points on where it really begun, maybe parts that we hadn't seen, the struggle there, make it clear, make it make sense. I thought we would get a bit more fleshed out understanding of from Ymir, maybe even her speaking, maybe even us understanding this love. Like, why was that there? Like, please explain to us why you loved your captor, why you chose to die for him instead of stay with your children and live out, why you as a powerful Titan was so weak in mind and will that instead of just snuffing out this wicked king, you served him and then continued to serve him in the paths and cause 2,000 years worth of hell. And even with your power of prescience and seeing the future, weren't able to learn the lesson that you needed from Mikasa. All of that, it make sense. I thought we'd get a bit more understanding on, the Worm Kun, like, what's his story? Like, is he gone? Are the Titan powers really gone? But these 8 pages literally are like, yeah, we're just going to give you more nonsense. We're just going to keep adding things in an attempt to try and fix it. And I'd like to think that Isayama always was going to release these 8 extra pages, as, I think he has done in the past. But I feel like these extra pages are more of a attempt to fix, like a reaction of trying to fix what was so dismally done in chapter 139, but nothing is actually fixed. And I genuinely do not think that anything can be done to fix the story or to fix the mistakes that happened in chapter 139 in the ending, because the ending departed from its original intent. Like it's different if it was a tiny departure, right? If it was a small departure, a few characters, or even just one plot line, maybe you could fix it in 8 pages. But you completely changed the direction the story was going thematically. You changed the story. You changed characters. You completely forgot characters and their importance, like Historia, the baby, the rumbling itself and its efficacy, because apparently now these leaks show us that all of that only bought them maybe about 70 years and war came anyway. And I get it. Attack on Titan always touched on that before the Titans, humans were fighting. When the Titans came, there was fighting. Without the Titans, there will be fighting. I get that. But why did we have to wait for the 8 pages? Better yet, why even give us a 3-year time skip where we see, Mikasa all forlorn and like looking like she's never gonna move on, still pining over Eren? Because I feel like that the fandom was upset about that, and then Isayama and the magazine and the editors went, crap, we've got to fix that. So let's give them an image of Mikasa maybe 8 years and then maybe 25 years or whatever, 50 years from now, with a husband, with kids, with grandkids, showing that she actually did move on. And because she moved on, then we can actually justify that she was the real chosen one and that she was the perfect candidate that Ymir actually needed to be able to let go of her love. All of this is done as a reaction. It's not thought out. All of this is done as damage control. It's like, shit, we shit the bed and now we've got to clean it up. But because we have lost touch with what we originally set out to do, we don't know how to clean this mess, because everything we try to do, we are now just creating more puddles. We're now just creating more spills, and it's a bloodbath out there. It's a shit show. It really is how I feel. I feel like there is no rhyme or reason. And the crazy thing is, I'm an ordinary writer, right? Like, I've published 2 books. I've got a few sitting there ready to go. They're being edited. I'm nothing special. I love writing, though. I love language. I love reading. I love stories. I'm a nerd about this stuff. And it's easy for me to say, like, no one's knocking down my door trying to offer me millions of dollars. So it's easy for me to say that I would never, ever compromise my story for money. I don't know that, though. I don't know what it's like to have a magazine or people telling you that we'll give you, copious amounts of money to change this. So And that's what I think has happened. I think that Isayama was tempted because for someone who had stuck to his guns for the most part of the 11 years that this manga has been out there, why at the very end did he just decide, you know what, you guys do what you will? I've come this far, but you guys do what you will. Like, something drastic had to have happened for him to just go, you know what, guys? And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is always what he wanted to do. Maybe. But I just feel like there are so many other influences that have come along that have made it possible for him to go, screw it, you know what, you guys do what you want with it. Because I thought Isayama was done. I thought he was like, look, I've worked at this for 11, 12 years. I love it, but I'm done. I want to take a break. I may not even write again. I want to open a spa. I thought that was what he was doing. But now apparently there's also rumors that all of this was done. All of these changes was done to usher in a sequel of Attack on Titan. And to that I say, it's the sequel no one asked for. It's the sequel no one asked for. Because if there was a sequel, why rush it? And I feel like a sequel should... The original piece of art, which for the most part is still a masterpiece, should not have suffered for a sequel that no one actually asked for and nobody actually thought was coming, because we thought Isayama was done and that's why he was ending the story. But apparently, and you know what, it could be that Isayama is done and that the magazine have some rights to Attack on Titan and are therefore going to carry it on with a team of writers that are not Isayama. Maybe. Who knows? But I can tell you now, it's just a sequel that I'm not interested in. Like, and who knows? They may be able to create something that as a standalone project is amazing. But right now, the way that I feel with the disappointment and the frustration and the question marks that are just looming over me, I have no interest whatsoever to tune into the sequel, because when you done shat the bed in the ending of what was one of my favorite stories of all time, what could you possibly do to induce me to tune in to part 2 of the shit show, right? I really don't have that much incentive going in. Who knows, in a few months or in a year when it's released, if it's released, I might feel differently. Now, these panels and these texts, let's get into it. I really don't want my videos to be rants and rumblings, but even when I have notes, I get so passionate and incensed about this topic, because I love this story so much. I love this manga so much that I can't help but go into ramble and rant mode. So apologies, but stick with me. I'm going to try and not make this too long, because it's just 8 pages, right? But they don't make any sense. I feel like all rhyme and reason has been thrown out of the door, and it's just getting worse. Like, the holes are just getting worse. What I can't stand, and this is in any story, any series, or any movie, is when they give you a time skip. So they end the story, then they give you a time skip, that's ending number 1. And then they give you another time skip, and then another time skip, and another time skip. I'm kind of like, why are we getting all these different time skips? Like, do you not have the skill to be able to just kind of wrap it up? And I feel like with a chapter 139, we were already given the 3-year time skip that kind of showed where our characters were. And as stupid as that time skip was, because it really didn't make sense and I really didn't care at this point, I was kind of like, okay, it's left for us to kind of conclude what happens with the peace talks. It's left for us to conclude the happy life the Historia has with her 3-year-old child and the no-name farmer. It's up for us to interpret how long Mikasa's going to sit by that tree pining for Eren, probably forever. It was over. It was done. This was just meant to flesh things out, right? Give context, give background info. This gives completely new stuff. So apparently Mikasa does move on. And if the man she moves on with is Jean, I'ma tell you now, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, save us. Because what is going on? Like, Attack on Titan never was anything about any pronounced romance, right? For all the shipping wars, it was actually never anything about a pronounced romance. Even the marriages in there were never that pronounced. Even the cutesy couples, I think some of the scouts, it was never pronounced. 1 ended in tragedy, 2 ended in tragedy, actually. So it was like never, ever, love and romance was never a pronounced thing. Now, there was always hints to it. And look, if Eren did actually like Mikasa, whatever, I guess it was obvious in Isayama's head, but it wasn't for the readers. And even the Eren and Mikasa shippers, as much as they are, as much as they were like, yay, see, we told you, they would also have to admit that it wasn't told very effectively. It's not like it was an obvious pick. Right? It's the storytelling wasn't in such a way that we were all like, I knew it. Absolutely. It was kind of like, oh, we were hoping, and then I guess you told us it was, so we have to believe you now. So I just don't understand why a show that never really spent time fleshing out romances, fleshing out love stories, dropping a lot of foreshadowing and hints, all of a sudden in the last chapter makes it all about love, makes it all about unrequited, weird, longing love, and nobody gets to be with the one that they love, and it's just a whole lot of pain and frustration, when that was never what the show was about, right? I could understand if chapter 139 spent 10 10% of it on that. But the whole chapter hung on those two reveals. It was the reveal of Ymir and her love for Old Mate is why the whole Titan world persisted for 2,000 years, and all of those people died basically because she was pining for a pedophile dickhead. And then it was that Eren really did love Mikasa all along and did a lot of this for her, but could never tell her, and that Mikasa's pining for him and love for him is what Ymir needed to see in order to set the world free of the Titans and end this all. Why did it have to hang on a theme, on subject that really was never, ever, ever important throughout the whole story? So I take issue with that. And then with these 8 extra pages, it just pushes that further, because now Mikasa has moved on, and it's with someone that she never even had a conversation with. I don't even think Mikasa even looked at Jean. I don't think she even ever, because she was eyes only for Eren, and any other platonic person that she spoke to was Armin and Levi, or maybe Connie. I don't know, but there was never an interaction. Now, we knew that Jean pined for her, but I don't know that it was like this deep, deep, deep pining the whole way through. And I kind of feel like, why him? Of all people, would you have us believe that it would be him, that he's second best? Because Eren's not here, I guess I'll go with you, Jean. I'll go with you, Jean, and we'll have a baby. And not just that, but I will bring you to the grave of my ex-lover, the man that I will love forever, wearing his scarf. Now, I can understand that Jean may be a big enough man that says, hey, he was my friend, so I will visit that too. But why are you still wearing the scarf? I can understand that you can cherish that scarf and you can keep it in a little keepsake box, but literally you're telling me that it would make Jean feel amazing to be married to a woman who wore that scarf all day, every day? Who is buried with that scarf? I don't know, guys. Maybe there are people that are bigger out there, that have bigger hearts, that are not jealous or whatever, and just maybe there are people out there like that. But I just think, really, and okay, so if it's not Jean, it's even worse, because Jean at least can understand that, hey, he was my buddy too. I get it. You can have that scarf on you, baby girl. But not Jean? It would be like, what? Like, I am supposed to be now the love that you have chosen and the person you've chosen to do life with. But every day I have to be reminded that there was someone that came before me that you loved so endlessly, and that if he was still alive, I would not be here with you building a family. I just think, come on, let go of that scarf. We should not have seen that scarf in these extra 8 pages. Mikasa should not be dying wrapped around with that scarf. No. She should have left that scarf at the grave, at Eren's tree. That to me is a bit more symbolic. She's still holding on, still pining, and I'm not okay with that. So just filtering her with family and a husband and a baby doesn't make me think that Mikasa has moved on, because the freaking scarf is still around her neck. It's odd. It's weird. I don't like it. Anyway, so we've got that. Apparently Paradise gets destroyed, which, okay, war exists. War existed before the Titans. It will exist after the Titans. I get it. It's blown up, but it kind of makes a lot of things just seem like, what? And to be honest, look, again, I don't believe it's our job as readers to try and make sense of what the writer was trying to do and try and make sense of his themes and be like, well, because the theme was this, even though the story was badly written, I can try and construct some sense. It's not our job. It's not what we're here to do. But I can understand that Isayama, with all of this Paradise being destroyed and maybe the Titan powers are not gone from the world anymore, is, I think what he was trying to achieve is what he was trying to achieve in the beginning. When he set out to write this story, he said that he wanted the ending to kind of resemble, I think it's the movie The Mist, I think it is, or maybe it's something else, where the father in the end shoots everybody and his son except for himself, and just before he shoots himself, the army comes and says, no, we've figured out how to stop the mist or these aliens, whatever. And he realizes he did all that for nothing. That sense of futility, that sense of heartache, that dark, twisted sense of fate of, are you kidding me? I think that's what Isayama is trying to recreate. But he's trying to recreate it with a changed story outline. He's changed the direction of the story, and yet he's still trying to achieve the same sense of futility. Because I get it. If Eren did all of that, destroyed 80% of the world, Eren lost his life, Eren never told Mikasa he loved her, all of the things that Eren, everything, everybody that died, Sasha dying for nothing, Hanji dying for nothing, the scouts dying for nothing, the millions upon millions of people dying for nothing because Paradis was going to be destroyed anyway. So he bought them some time, but not enough time, right? And I get it. His whole goal was he wants his friends to live a long life. And so if Mikasa is a granny who gets to be buried and die of old age, he achieved that. His friends got to live a long life. For Paradis, well, you know, Paradis is on its own. So I can kind of let that slide. But the better way of having achieved this sense of futility would have been to just let the story run the way you wanted it to. Let Eren have gone and destroyed the whole world, not because he's a Chad, but because it literally was the only way. What other path were they going to do? Euthanization was a no. That wasn't going to happen. Eren should have gone and done the full rumbling, all of that. And then at the very end, leave with a sense of what the fuck, this is all for nothing, because the cycle of hate is not something that one man could ever end. And okay, so then we thought Eren, better yet, as I said, let him do the rumbling. Let him do all of that. Let him go and hold his baby, which he should have had with Historia. Say you are free. Maybe even live. If whether it's 4 years, or even if he dies, whatever. Let all of that happen, and then show us, a time skip where his kid, I don't know, falls over or grazes themselves and sees blood and is angry or something. Maybe his kid gets into a fight and, he's cut or he cuts himself, and then we kind of see that lightning kind of effect just before a Titan is about to go Super Saiyan. And it's kind of an indication that the powers never left. It just passed down to his child. The sense of futility would have been immense, because it's like, what you're telling me, this man gave up his life. He destroyed the world. He did all of this for nothing. The Titan powers are still here. Not just here, but his own son has inherited it. Everything that he wanted. He held his son and said, you're free. He thought, or his daughter, whatever, thought that it was all done. But then it was all for nothing. That is how you achieve a sense of futility. That is how you kick an audience in the gut and say, this world is just cruel. And no matter how amazing Eren is, or the scouts, or any of these people, the cycle of hate is not something that one man can end. It is the way of the world. That would have made more sense. But now we're given this weird kind of, panel of Paradis was ended, and, Eren only bought them about 70 years, so Paradis is destroyed. And then we're given another time skip that shows us where Eren is buried. The tree has grown and crazy, and it resembles Ymir's tree, obviously, because Eren is not dead, apparently, and his power and the power of the Titans is fueling the growth of this tree. And then we're given this panel of a child, a descendant of Mikasa, like a grandchild or a great-grandchild, is heading for that tree, and obviously that child will discover the head of Eren, and he'll probably pass on the Titan powers to them, and the cycle will continue. But the way that this is done, it's like, what even is this all about? Like, why? Like, why? Like, I care nothing for this. And that it's Mikasa's descendants. It's kind of like, when did Mikasa become so important? I mean, I get it, guys. I love Mikasa. But you had 11 years to give Mikasa more of a character than somebody who loved Eren. But she didn't. She was a two-dimensional, I just want to be with Eren. I just want to be with Eren. I just want to be with Eren. And even after he's dead, I just want to be with Eren. Even when she's married, I just want to be with Eren. Even when she's dying, I just want to be with Eren. So this is all you have given her, but she's so important. Like, she's so important, so much so that now her descendants, not Historias, but her descendants are the ones that are going to take the story forward. For all we know, Historia and her descendants was bombed when bloody, I don't know, when Paradise gets destroyed. And okay, so if and also, like, if Paradise does get destroyed, when does it get destroyed? And how does Mikasa and her family survive? Like, who survives? Like, is she offshore when the bomb goes off? Like, do all of our friends die? Like, what happens? You know what I mean? Like, and I get it. There's a leak, so they're not everything. And so we have to wait until June to really find out, what do they mean by Paradise? When did it happen? Who survived? Who didn't? Are our characters going to be, protected? I just honestly, if all of this is going to happen, I just feel like it should have happened in the end of chapter 139. We shouldn't be getting 8 more pages of add-on caca, because that's what it feels like to me. And also, I'm confused. I am in more confusion than I was at the end of chapter 139, because I thought that the worm Kun was destroyed. Even though it was done off screen, I thought that he was gone. And the reason I thought he was gone, not just because they didn't show it, but because all of the Titans that were turned in chapter 138 were brought back. Why was Jean and Connie killed in chapter 138 just to be brought back in chapter 139, so as to find out that the Titan powers were never gone? Like, what is happening here? Like, is this all happening? Like, it all seems to me like sloppy afterthoughts. It's like, if we want a sequel, the power can't be gone. Okay, got it. But why? What? Then explain to me why all of those people that were turned into Titans came back. They didn't do it on their own. Obviously, when Ymir decided, okay, thank you, Mikasa, I now know how to let go, it made apparent to us that she had the power to change it all. So she ended it all, right? That's how it is, right? And when Eren talks to Armin, he's like, that's the only way to end the Titan powers. This was it. This was the only way. So, but apparently that isn't the only way. So maybe Eren was lied to. Maybe Eren didn't know the whole picture. And I am okay with the Titan powers still being around in the world, right? Because they were there before that world was created. It was always there. And it's okay if it's thereafter. But it's the way in which this story is sloppily trying to tell it. If the worm Kun was still alive, then Jean and Connie should have died. They should have stayed Titans, pure Titans, and just died or disappeared. It would have made more sense that when Ymir said, deuces, I'm out, that everybody that was a Titan or a pure Titan, whatever, just the power is gone. And if you were a Titan at that time and not back in human form, I guess, I'm sorry, you're done, you're gone. But they revert back, which to me is like, well, then the Worm Kun's power must be gone. But no, it's not. Because Eren is still there, and apparently he is the founding Titan, so he has all of the powers in him, and he's in that tree, and he's just waiting for somebody to come so he can, I don't know, give them the power or be free. I'm so confused, because I get it, they're trying to create this loop, it never ends, and the Titan's always going to be with us, but it's just told in a caca way. It's told in a way that is trying to stitch up old mistakes, but creating more mistakes. It's not seamless, and it's not my job to try and make sense of it. The story should stand alone on its own and make sense itself. I don't get it. I'm so like, why? Why is this happening to a great story? And of these 8 pages, of these 8 leaks, I love that all we get is Mikasa again because, guys, it was always a Mikasa show, apparently. And I know it sounds like I'm hating on Mikasa. I'm not. It's just that for a character that was just ill-used and so boring for most of it, unless she was fighting, Mikasa was useless. I'm sorry, fight me. But unless Mikasa was Super Saiyan mode, she was a useless, boring character. So why do we just keep getting more of her? What about Historia? I mean, you done destroyed her already, so really, what more could we get from her? What about anybody else? There is literally nobody else that we could follow. You're telling me there's nobody else that we could care about? What about Armin? What about Annie? What about old mate that wanted to die, Raina? What about Gabby and her boyfriend? I can't remember his name. What about Levi? I want to see Levi married. Levi should be having good sex, making babies, being a happy dad and one day granddad. That is what Levi deserves. But now, apparently, well, the island was destroyed if he was on it, or the Titan powers are back. Who has time for this? Who has time for this? If you wanted to give us a sequel, just flesh out the first part. Do it well so that we're actually excited for a sequel. But now we're going in, if there is a sequel, because to be fair, there may not be a sequel. And this may be it. And I kind of wish that this is it. Like, it's totally different if somebody wants to do a spin-off here and a spin-off there, whatever. But I kind of feel like we need to let this story lie. Because I can't take any more, right? Because stupid me will probably tune into the sequel because I'll just be too curious to see. I just want to see what they're going to do with it. And what if I get sucked in for another 11 years just to be disappointed like the first one disappointed me? You get me? Anyways, that's my rant. I'm not okay with these leaks. I'm not okay with it at all. Isayama, I just wish you had stuck to the story you wanted to tell. Just stick to the story you would have wanted to tell. And who cares if some of your fans didn't want it? It doesn't matter. At least it would have been the story you wanted to tell. Anyways, I'm done. Thanks for listening.